slightly different video for today, boys and girls. Normally, when I'm making a video, ouch, just bang my knee on a coffee table, I'll use this here camera. Can we see? That's going to be strange, isn't it? But today, I'm using one of these little knockoff GoPro thingies that do it in 4K, and I've even set the lighting up. Those who know what other photography I do will know I use the lighting for slightly different reasons. But now, today is the start of my 5 video series about the 10 oh, by the way, that's the camera that I use for the time lapses. The 10 best, sort of like, not best, but the 10 books that I'm currently recommending for people, especially if you're still shielding or socially isolating. The first 2 today are going to be the BrewDog craft beer for the people. By the way, if you're wondering what these piles of coins, old pennies, are for, it's to give me an idea of the scope of this camera. So that's the first one. Sorry, I'm going to do this one first, but this is Richard Crossdale's Craft Beer Dictionary. Now I'm just going to have a peek, make sure that I'm in, yes, I'm in frame. So I'm going to start with this, and so I'll get rid of that for a moment. Why do I like this? For a start, it's a nice hardback, but the main reason I like this is it is exactly what it says on the cover. Craft Beer Dictionary, and it's nicely put together. Now I'm going to be careful because I don't want to breach any copyright, so I'm just going to go through and show you a couple of the reasons I like it. So right at the very beginning, under A, straight in with the science. Acetaldehyde along with ABV. Now, I think you've got to have a fair amount of confidence when you go straight in with something like that. However, it's also got, I use these little tabs, by the way, in all my books when I'm writing lecture notes or reading lists. I'll give you another little idea of why I like this. It covers things like beard and beer belly and, strangely enough, beer fear. Again, you've got to have a fair amount of confidence to stick something like that in a craft beer dictionary. Looks like the neighbours might come through the wall in a minute. It mentions a cool ship. If you don't know what a cool ship is, it's a large open spontaneous fermentation vessel. The Dutch invented it. It tells you all about it here, but again, to avoid any copyright infringement, our friends who run the brewery of St Mars of the Desert have a large stainless steel cool ship into which they hop their beers. But again, it's not something that I don't think I've found in very many dictionaries or mentionings of home brewing, craft beer, or even beer. Stuff like mentioning flocculation, stuff like mentioning a flight. Now, it's stuff that you don't really get told very much about. Hangover. Again, you have to have a fair amount of confidence in your subject to stick something in like a hangover, because I didn't know what one was before reading this book, honest. Jumping forward a little bit, it goes into lactobacillus for your sours and lactose in beers. So it does give you an excellent all-round grounding in a lot of those areas that don't very often get covered. New England IPA, explains it. New World Hops, explains it. It's just one of those nice little books just to have kicking around. Oxidation, the main cause of iffy beer. Wonderful, this book covers it. Phenols, nobody very often talks about phenols, polyphenols. The pH, you know, the acid alkaline content. This book tries to, and I think very well succeeds at covering loads of stuff, pretty much everything to do with beer. Serving temperature. Yeah, I like the idea that you can just flick through this, and every time you do, you still might find something that you didn't know. Spontaneous fermentation, refer you back. Coolship, back to the coolship. So it's also got fairly nice kind of like illustrations. Spent grain. What do we do with our spent grain? Well, as you know, if you follow this channel, mine go to the ducks and fishes. They love it. Or, as someone else suggested, making dog biscuits. Unfiltered beers, very popular at the moment. So this is bang on the money. Untapped mentions that app that we've all got on our phone. West Coast IPAs. This book attempts to cover it all. And not only that, I'm not even going to comment on that. Obviously, like any good book, it has a remarkable index, and it's really, really clear. Now, I'll put a link to this book underneath in the description. It's predominantly for the American market, and for the UK market, where is it on there? 15 quid. I'll put a link to it on Amazon. If you buy it from there, two things will happen. One, you'll be a bit silly, and two, you'll give me money. You'll give me money because it's one of those, you know, things that I get a commission if anyone buys it. But the first thing is you'll be a bit silly because at the moment, in I've seen it twice now in bookshops, in TK Maxx in the UK, in America it's TJ Maxx, this was £2.99. I think that's a bargain for this little book. That's why I'm covering this now. And it's a lovely, beautiful little book just to have kicking around. Or, you know, it's the sort of book that if it wasn't alcohol related, I'd have in the waiting room for my clinic. So, but because it's alcohol related, I can't. Second book, and I am recommending, yeah, right, for a start, let's start this off. BrewDog. BrewDog. Very, very much a Marmite brewery. I happen to like quite a bit of their stuff, but you know, that's just me. This book, and it is again a nice hardback, craft beer for the people. Now I've said this before, and I will say this again. This is the ultimate Beery coffee table book. This has everything you would want from a coffee table book, and I think if I go straight in. Wow, I'm really not used to having a camera where I can use two hands. I usually just kind of like wave this around and mince about one-handed. So, how to taste beer. Gonna go through this really quickly because again, copyright and all that. It goes into the science, the physics of brewing. A lot of people who just drink beer have no idea how it's made. People who watch this channel will probably know more about what it's made than anybody else, because that's the sort of following that you develop. And I've learned more from other home brewers than probably ever reading any books, to be honest. I have loads of books, but this goes through that entire scientific process, and it is beautifully illustrated. And I have to say, it covers just about everything. And it's not just BrewDog centric. As an example, Anchor. This is a San Francisco brewery. So it's a very broad coverage of everything pretty much to do with beer. There is a focus pretty much on its own products, BrewDog's own products, but things like, you know, it covers things like wheat beers, Hefeweizens, and stuff and sours. What more could you expect in a coffee table book? Now this is a bit of a shocker, and yes, you can get all of these online. It's got recipes and tells you how to do the whole process. What can you say? Now, beer rating cards that you could either put out or photocopy. Alright, bit gimmicky, but how often, until you got Untapped obviously, did you think, oh yeah, I've had that beer before, can't remember what it was like? Start a collection. All of their recipes of their favourite, or our favourite I suppose, are in here. And yes, you can get these recipes free online, because BrewDog, whether you like them or not, the great thing about BrewDog is that they've made all of their recipes pretty much open source. This book goes into food pairing. God! Oh, right, I'm hungry now. How many books go into food pairing? Oh. Come here. Last orders. This is where they've chucked everything that doesn't really fit really anything anywhere else. Look at this. Oh, this is just, I love this book. I really do love this book. What can you say? We have our favourite glasses, but did you realise that different glasses can bring out different flavours and things of your beer? So, and again, yeah, it has the glossary and it has a wonderful index. Okay, but when I say this is the ultimate coffee table book, it gives you some pop out, I'm not going to pop these out, beer mats to go on your coffee table. Now, I was going to do this list of my 10 favourite books in a different order, but the reason I'm doing this one now, and this one, as I've said, this one $2.99 in TK Maxx if you're in America, TJ Maxx. This one £1 in Sainsbury's. Get down to your nearest Sainsbury's, hunt around. This is the best quid you ever spend, believe me. Again, I've put a link to it underneath to Amazon, where you can buy it on Amazon. If you click that and buy it, I get a kickback. Full disclosure, obviously. Hopefully this isn't spamming, but, well, it's not, is it? Because I'm telling you to go to Sainsbury's. Go to Sainsbury's! This is by far the best coffee table book ever. And whether you like BrewDog or not, this should be on your coffee table, a part of your collection, because this, so much work has gone into this. To snap it up for a quid, what can you say? So that's the first 2 of my 10 most interesting beer related books. If you found this helpful in any way whatsoever, and bearing in mind that I'm trying a completely different filming strategy, if you have found this helpful, please consider subscribing to the channel. If you click the, the up, no, I don't know, because that might be the down, how you're looking at it. Yeah, click the up one, thumbs up please, don't click thumbs down, because otherwise I get all sad and then cry into my beer. But please consider clicking the thumbs up, because that tells YouTube that these videos might be worth watching. you're welcome to subscribe. Be lovely to have you. If you've got any comments, please leave them wherever it is down there. And yeah, next will be my next 2 books. I need to describe the rationale behind them when we come to that, because they will seem very, very strange compared to this one. Okay, I hope you've enjoyed that. If you have, it's all been worthwhile getting all this kit out, all the lighting and the cameras and the tripods and stuff. I even wiped the coffee table down. Look at that. Right, cheers guys.